Okay, we were saying in the last video, just building up on what Platonism is, it believes in the objectivity of things, of thinkable objects, of mathematical objects, of moral objects, of truth, right? Therefore, it has to split the world in two in terms of the world of thought and the world of sensible reality. And we said the one way Plato thinks about the world of thought is he says there's this world of ideas, or the world of the forms, okay? And I want to talk about what the forms are for Plato. When you study Platonism, the first thing you should think of is the forms, or the ideas. Forms, ideas, whatever you want to talk about. What Plato means is that the forms are, it's really Plato's response to relativism. Although Nietzsche's, 2,300 years later, I guess, 2,400 years later from Plato, probably a little bit longer. Nevertheless, there were relativists at the time of Plato, and Plato's response to relativism is something like, well, wait a minute. The relativists can't be right, because if the relativists are right, then there's no truth, there's no morality, right? That's just something we cook up. Moreover, how do numbers work? What is that about? What would reality have to be like such that morality exists and truth exists and mathematics is real? How does reality? How can you conceive of reality in a consistent manner that would keep these things like morality, truth, etc., numbers? Well, he says, of course, there's another world of forms, and these forms are the essences of things, or the patterns in things, or the formulas of things, right? So when you think of something like, when you see, for example, he gives the term, gives the example of the idea of beauty. He says beauty, the idea of beauty, or the form of beauty, is not actually something we sense, but it's a form. It's something that we perceive in all beautiful things. Okay, and these forms are sort of like patterns in reality. Another way of thinking about them is patterns in reality. Beauty is a kind of pattern in reality that has objectivity to it. That has objectivity. Numbers are patterns. Okay, morality is a kind of pattern. For example, when I see a beautiful, when I see, we're talking about the good, morality. When I see somebody doing a good deed, and when I hear and I watch somebody do a good deed on the television, or I read the Bible and I hear about Jesus healing people, I call all those things good. What is it that those things have in common, that they are all called by the same name, good? Or when I hear a great tune, a musical song, I think, oh, that's very beautiful. And then I see a beautiful person, or I see a beautiful work of art, I call that beautiful. What is it? What is that pattern that all those things have in common? And Plato thinks that pattern is objective, mind-independent, and actually real, existing in another world that we actually can see with our mind, okay? And it sounds nuts when you first hear this, but actually, as we'll see as we keep going along here, it actually makes sense and is the only way to make sense of the world if you want to cling to and hold on to the objectivity of morality, of some kind of objectivity to beauty. Plato actually thinks beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is actually an objective thing. If you want to hold to the objectivity of numbers, how does the world have to look? Okay, well, Plato thinks that if you want to take seriously the idea that morality is real and truth is real, you have to posit a world of forms, okay? And, let's end it there for now.